Welcome to the Bpo Pro Show, live from Lake Wiley, South Carolina. I'm really excited about our special guest today. Longtime friend, known him for several years. We're in a mastermind together, and he's just a mover and a shaker. He does a lot of different things. He's a software developer, wholesaler, turnkey, property manager, although we may talk a little bit about that, is my good friend Robert Syfert. What's going on, buddy?
What's up, Larry? Thanks for having me on the show. It's a beautiful day right now, so that's what's up.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I don't know if you guys could hear that noise, but the lawn care people are mowing the yard at the office, and they just went right by my window.
Yeah, I thought I heard that. I'm like, that sounds familiar, but my guys came yesterday, so it can't be them.
I know, right? Well, we were chit-chatting before we started recording, and I was hoping they were done, right? Because I heard them every once in a while, but apparently not. Here they come at another pass, right?
Yeah, now they're getting close.
I know. So let me turn this way at least. So why don't you start out and tell our listeners and viewers a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so I been in real estate full-time for about 4 or 5 years now. Prior to that, had a history in the finance industry and a ton of different sales. So I've done door-to-door sales. I've done sales at all kinds of levels. If you name it, I've probably been involved in it, from ADT to personal training gyms, and primarily finance for the last 7 or 8 years before I got into real estate. Studied real estate, one of those guys that read every book possible, did all the things, and just never took the action. Didn't feel I knew enough.
Right.
Until the day where I decided I'm talking to a lot of real estate people and they don't really know anything. I should probably just get involved. And then learned more doing real estate than I ever did in the 10 years reading it. Done hundreds of wholesale deals in Michigan, primarily where I was born and raised. Turned that into a turnkey business where we bought and renovated and sold rentals, which turned me into a property manager as a result of that, which is a whole nother story. And then evolution of all of that expanded into Tampa, Florida, moved my family down here. And as part of that is what really got us into the software and developing software. It really started as a building a software for us that would allow us to scale and expand markets and be able to control all of the back-end systems, processes, and team that way. And then once I got into some of the masterminds we're in, that just opened the door that, hey, you have something that no one else has that. How do you do that? Like, I don't know, we just built something for us, because you're right, there was nothing that did all this.
Right.
We wanted to do it. So that turned into having a conversation with my now CTO and realizing that this is a big opportunity, and we've built something pretty unique here, and we could turn this into a multi-user platform, and so we did.
That's awesome.
That's what got me into software. And now really just going back to our roots. So we still do turnkey in a perspective with some partnerships, but we primarily focus on wholesaling in 2 markets, Michigan and Florida.
Okay,
our 2
good.
main markets right now.
Now, so you just moved down to Tampa not too long ago, huh?
Yeah, it'll be a few years this winter.
Right.
But just started doing Tampa business about a year and a half, 2 years ago.
That's cool, man. That's good. So you're in a couple of different markets. Tell us a little bit about what your team looks like on the real estate side.
Yeah, so right now we have one VA that essentially just manages all the stuff that comes into the system and it kicks it out to where it needs to go. From there, we have, I guess you could call a person I brought in as a partner and technically like the COO of everything.
Right.
Underneath him, we have I think we just hired our 3rd salesperson. So we had 2 dedicated full-time salespeople. Now I think we just hired a 3rd. And then in our markets, we have a disposition side / boots on the ground person that operates locally in the market to help show buyers properties and do any little random stuff we need, like put out signs to sell them, stuff like that. But that's it. Pretty small team. I've had a team way bigger than that when we were doing turnkey. But as we spoke earlier, I'm kind of downsizing all that, getting rid of management. So that's gotten rid of a lot of those team members and other little rehab headaches, etc.
Awesome. Now, does your sales, and I just want to clarify, you said you have 3 salespeople now. Those are really on the acquisitions,
yeah.
Right. Okay, good. So Do your salespeople, your acquisition people, do they go to the house or do they do it over the phone?
We do it all over the phone. So our boots on the ground person, if necessary, can go to the house with a contract. But 9 times out of 10, we're buying it over the phone if we can.
Yeah. Now, I really like what you mentioned about you've got a VA that kind of manages all the data coming in. Talk a little bit about that, because that's something I'm personally even interested in, because, I mean, right now our phone rings probably 200-300 times a week, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we've got a very, very small team, right? So even sometimes I take those calls,
yep.
right? So, but I mean, I'm right in the thick of things, you know? So tell us a little bit about that VA and what they do.
So we have some marketing that does go directly to our salespeople. And in that case, the VA is not involved.
Right.
Unless one of the salespeople missed a call and it turns into a voicemail. So if we don't live answer, it goes to voicemail.
Right.
And the voicemails would end up getting tagged to him in our system, where he'll go listen to the message and essentially transcribe all those messages. So daily, he just logs in and sees, does he have any tasks in our system?
Right.
If he has a task, that means he has something new. He has a message to listen to, or he has some form of marketing that we have that doesn't go direct to salespeople, because we do some online marketing as well.
Right.
That doesn't go directly to the salespeople. That goes to him to qualify first.
Right. Right.
From there, depending on if it's sellers or buyers, he spends, a couple hours a day just focused on communicating with all those new contacts and determining, really at that point, we call that contact qualifying.
Right.
And all his goal is to do is qualify, is this a potential seller that owns a property? And if so, what's that address? Put in that information and turn it into a lead.
Right.
Or it's not, and kill it in our system. So we stop following up. Outside of that, he just lets it run, because our system will do all kinds of follow-up for him. And then with buyers, he just clarifying that they go to the right place. Are they actually a buyer? Are they interested in something? If so, then he escalates it. So that's it. His only goal is to qualify, is the contact that came in an actual lead or not? And then from there, just kick it over and let salespeople take over.
So he's basically separating the suspects from the prospects and then pushing them out to the right person.
I like that. Suspects versus prospects. That's a good one.
You like
that's
that?
A good one.
That's good. That's good. So that's awesome. And that's a virtual assistant. Are they in the U.S. or out of the country?
Mine is. This one is. He actually lives in Vegas, and he just works part time for us outside of. I think he works for the UPS full time, and then works part time for us.
Oh, that's cool. Now, so is he taking live calls, or your salespeople or your disposition are taking the live calls? Yes,
the salespeople and dispositions, acquisitions, they take all the live calls. He doesn't take any live calls.
Yeah, okay.
We played with all that, but he's better. He's better doing the background stuff and not.
Sure. So
he'll send text messages and emails, but that's it. He doesn't communicate on the phone.
Now, once a person becomes a prospect versus a suspect, so he assigns it to someone and then creates a task for them, I would imagine, right?
Well, the great thing is that's even more simplified in our system. He literally just says, this suspect is now a prospect. For us, that contact is now a lead. The system automatically has all of that already programmed, so it automatically knows who that goes to next and assigns them a task. So all he does is click one button. He just verifies it's a lead, clicks the lead button, and that's it. He moves on to the next one, and they get their task, letting them know they got a new lead to manage.
That's cool, man. I really like that. And you do have a phenomenal system. You've shown it to me. I've seen it. I know what it'll do. It is a phenomenal system.
Thank you.
It really, really is. And we'll talk about that too. So tell us a little bit about your acquisition guys. You got 3. Do you like to hire experienced people, or do you train them, or in real estate, or just experienced salespeople or telemarketers, or what?
Yeah, so they're all girls, and the current ones that I have and that we have were all experienced, but that's because I partnered with a person that already had the salespeople, and all of them came from no real estate background. They were just brought into real estate, taught real estate, and I think that would be my preference. We've hired in the past. I find that when you're hiring people that necessarily have real estate background, and I could go either way. There could be a purpose for hiring someone with real estate knowledge. But that with that also potentially comes bad habits they may have learned somewhere else,
Yeah,
and or
I've
wanting
noticed
to
that.
do it their way, right? Like they're gonna be more likely to be combative with you about how your operation should work versus someone coming in and having none of that knowledge. They're open. They're not going to fight you on the process that you have developed. I do like people with sales experience, some sort of sales experience. But I'm open to it doesn't matter because the truth be told, in my opinion, everyone's a salesperson. And what I mean by that, and what I was taught early on, is you've been selling your whole life, whether you know it or not. Every
Right.
relationship you have, every friend you have, every relationship you've been in, it's a sale. A sale
Right.
occurred. You sold them you, and that's really all you do in sales is sell yourself. It's a person-to-person sale. So
That's
we
good.
like, are they personable, communicatable, friendly, happy? That's the kind of things we're going to look at. And more importantly, do they fit our core values? And if they do, then we'll at least move forward and progress from that point.
That's really cool. Now, do you guys have an office or is everyone virtual?
I've been mostly virtual. The salespeople are now in an office down in Florida,
Oh, okay, good. Now, are
and
your
everyone else is virtual.
so your salespeople in the office in Florida, are they buying in Tampa and in Michigan?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
cool. That's
And then
cool.
and they're virtual too. They do have an office they can go to, but we don't, lock them up and say you got to stay there. I mean, if they want to run their day, they run their day, and everything transfers to their cell phone anyway, so they can
Right, right.
answer wherever they're at.
That's good, man. I love it. What does a typical deal look like for you guys?
So now a typical deal is going to be usually we're kind of similar to you, where we do mostly under $100,000 properties. Just seems to be our bread and butter.
Right.
The occasional ones that pop over that, but we're really a typical deal for us is going to be either a landlord who no longer wants to be a landlord. Let's give you an example. We just sold a few of those this last week that were landlords, tenants are gone, they don't want to fix the house. Right?
Right.
We contracted it where it's at. We'll take it as is. We turn around. We have a ton of buyers on our list that are landlords that want to place their own tenants,
Right.
and or handyman that want to do their own work and save money. So that's
Sure.
a typical deal, and that's a Michigan typical deal.
Right.
Typically, we'll probably average about 8 to 10 grand in a wholesale on a deal like that.
Uh-huh.
And then in Tampa, a typical deal is still under 100 grand or around 100 grand, maybe under 150 is a little bit more typical. Price point's a little bit higher
Right.
here, but similar situation. Most of them are, used to be investment properties. Landlord doesn't want to be in that business anymore, but we target those as well.
Uh-huh.
And then we get occasional flip properties. They're under 150,000 or around that price point that are just really good flips where you could go either or. They could be flips or rentals, and average money on a Tampa deal though is about 18K.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, but you flip that on the marketing side, right? We have twice as much cost for an acquisition going into a deal in Tampa versus Michigan, so it's kind of washes itself out, so to speak, over the long term.
Is what you're saying is it's a much more competitive market, so you have to market a lot harder and spend more money to get a deal? Yeah.
Yeah, it'll cost us a lot more per lead, per contact in Tampa because it is a lot more competitive market than Michigan.
Right. That makes sense. And they still do it all over the phone, even in Tampa.
Yes.
That's
awesome.
awesome.
They'll get in the car if they have to go to an appointment, but that's more of a 1 out of 10 kind of scenario.
Yeah, and that's kind of the way we are too. Occasionally, you have somebody that here's my address. Come by and see me if you want to talk to me.
Yeah. Those are if they can't turn that person, then they'll go to the house. We're not gonna lose a deal over that. We'll switch gears and go. But otherwise, if they can get it over the phone, we're getting it over the phone.
Right.
Much easier, right? They can talk to more people sitting at a computer or that than driving if they don't have to.
So Robert, once they get somebody who says, yeah, okay, I'll take $30,000 for this house, then what's the next step for your guys?
Next step for us is click a button, right? It's really that simple. Click a button, enter the rest of the details, what's your contingency, when are we closing, who's paying closing costs, the basic terms,
right?
And then click a button to send it to them, and they sign on e-signature typically.
So it goes out by email. Okay, cool. So that's a part of your Investorpo system, right?
Yes. Yeah. So we just literally click them. Otherwise, we just click a button.
Yeah, and it generates a contract.
Yep.
And then it emails them to them. If they don't have an email address, what happens then? You either snail mail it or send a mobile notary?
Yeah, we'll do that if necessary. In our system too, if they do have an email, we not only send it to them by email, but we also send them a text message with the link to sign too. So they get both.
That's cool. That's cool. I like that. I'm going to write that down. I didn't even think about sending it to them in a text, because now people can sign with an app by doing this, right?
They literally, so many people are mobile. So everything in our software is mobile friendly. And as part of that, actually it was just one of our community said, hey, can we customize our system to send a text message to? We're like, that's a really cool idea. How about we just make it for everybody?
That's
so we
awesome.
Just built it in, and now we just tell them, hey, you go on your phone, click the button, view the contract, click the buttons to sign, and as soon as they sign it, it updates our system, notifies our disposition side that it's time to market the property, and then that's obviously the next step. Our system pushes it through, and then we market all of our buyers from there. Now we do a couple extra things because we're always actively getting new buyers. So at that point, we dispositions person types up the description of what we're selling. 3-2, empty house, needs TLC, that kind of stuff. Loads up any photos that we got, because after the contract, we'll go inspect the house and grab photos. That's what our boots on the ground guy will do. At the same time he's doing that, once he's grabbed all the photos, he's going to start placing signs around the area. Just handwritten bandit signs to gather more buyers in that local market. And then we email, text blast, and we have a single page website all created by IPO. Our software, Investorpo, creates all of that, and then we do all the marketing, plus take any new calls from the bandit signs, and then sell it, of course.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. It's a system in a box. That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
that is really flexible. Cool. Do you mind sharing how you pay your acquisition people? I've had a lot of people watching the podcast that are like, man, I like to learn the details about how people build their team and what they do and their compensation and all that stuff. So that's why I'm asking these kind of questions.
Yeah, absolutely. We're open book. So we pay them straight commission. I've done everything in between though, right? We've paid flat fees per deal. I've done small salaries with fees and commissions.
Right.
I just find and coming from sales, believe straight commission is typically the best with salespeople. At least the salespeople that are going to flourish and do well, and the ones you want to keep anyway.
Sure.
I don't mind a small salary. It's not a bad idea too for people that are successful. Right. But we pay a straight commission, so we pay a percentage based on every deal. So every deal that we take down, we take a percentage off of the top to compensate for our marketing budget, and remarketing for more stuff. I think we take somewhere between 10 and 15%. And then our salespeople, the acquisition side, I want to say, because we have a couple little numbers in there depending on if someone else went to the house to get the signatures, we pay them too. It's all structured in. But let's just say on the acquisition side, we probably pay out 25% of the after marketing fee deduction to everyone involved in the acquisition. So that could be one person that gets all of that, or that could be up to two people, depending on if a phone person took the call and someone else had to go to the house, and they'll both get paid different percentages depending on what they did. And then we do the same thing on the disposition side. We pay out a commission, and the commission structure there is, again, it could be as high as 25%. So we pay upwards of 50% of the deal, and that's not 50% of the total deal. It's 50% after the 15% deduction.
Right.
And that depends. So there's some factors in that 25% on the disposition side. Is it a new buyer that wasn't in our system before? If so, the commission is definitely going to be higher. If they're already in our system, then they didn't get generated from any new activity, so the commission's a little bit lower. And then did they have to go to the house? Did they not have to go to the house? We have it all broken down into small percentages for each piece of that. So that we could also break it out into different people have even smaller job roles within that as we start to scale more.
That's good, man. That's really good. I like that. It sounds like the net result is very similar to what we do. We take 500 off the top and we pay 15 and 15.
That works.
Yeah.
I like that too.
Yeah. It's pretty simple. So a lot of people ask, how do you find a boots on the ground person? I'm in Las Vegas and I want to buy in Alabama, but I don't know anybody in Alabama. Tell us a little bit about your boots on the ground people, because you have somebody in Tampa as well as somebody in Michigan.
Yep. So kind of have an advantage in that. So I'll be clear on that. I'm from Michigan, so that was easy. I already know people, right? So it became my first virtual market, but not by accident. I lived there, I grew a business, and then I moved to Tampa and ran it virtually, but I already had people there.
Right.
Now I've lost all the people that I had and started all over again being in Tampa and, some things that happened this year. So how we got the new person ended up being someone in our personal network. So the gentleman I partnered with that runs all of our sales operations actually had a friend who lived in Michigan and wanted to get in real estate. So it really was. I would tell anybody is first look around your circle of influence or the people that you know, because just tell them what you're interested in. You may find someone in your circle of influence already knows somebody that's interested in doing the same thing or is already doing something. And in that case, start with that person as your boots on the ground. Right. And then in Tampa, we have the salespeople. If they want to run there, they can run there, and we're local here, so we can find somebody or do whatever. I've linked to a couple of houses, not traditionally something I do, but could if I had to. And then the next evolution, you can't find somebody in your network. Then the next thing that I would recommend doing is getting on Facebook. Facebook is a huge community. There's lots of wholesaling groups everywhere. So just do a search for the area that you want to do business in and really the word real estate. So Alabama, in that case, I would type in Alabama real estate and look at all the groups that pop up. Tag all of them and then, put that out there. Hey, I'm looking to do business in Alabama. Does anybody live in Alabama and want to do business with me?
Yeah, I need a boots on the ground person.
That's it. Yeah. And have conversations, right? It's an interview process, have conversations. Or something else you could do for boots on the ground, and we've done in the past also, is there's a national company called We Go Look. So wegolook.com. I think it's $50 or $75. Anywhere nationally, just go right on their website, put in an address, and they'll go inspect the house for you and send you back a report with photos. So we've used them a lot too for our boots on the ground. If you don't have somebody, you just want to get started to even see if the market's a good market for you. But nothing can stop you from getting started. Would be my point. I would look for someone else and use We Go Look in the beginning, because as you know, until I start marketing in that area and talk to sellers and or buyers, I don't even know if I have a viable business yet. So don't let not having a boots on the ground prevent you. There's a national company that can go look at a house for you anytime, get started. And then you could also, I've heard of, haven't personally done yet, but definitely something potential for us is just calling local agents. Try and find a local agent you can work with. Go do a Google search for agents in the area that you're going to do business in and call the first time that pop up on the website. Probably pretty comfortable you're going to find one of them willing to work with you and go do the inspections and go see the properties if you're going to pay them as part of the deal.
That's awesome, man. I love that. I love We Go Look too. There's another one out there called Bpo Photo Flow. It's actually a field service rep, Bpo Photo Flow. And number one, they're cheaper than We Go Look, but also they work for asset managers. So if you're buying like a HUD house or a house off the MLS and it's a bank-owned property, they already have keys to the house anyway. So, which is pretty cool.
I like that a lot, yeah.
That's pretty cool. And I actually found them, Robert, by looking on Craigslist for somebody, and I saw there was somebody else running an ad looking for a local person, and it was this company. So they've got people everywhere. But so that's pretty cool. So tell us a little bit about all of the tasks and how you would compensate a boots on the ground person.
Yeah, so boots on the ground can get compensated in multiple ways. And again, I'll give you our perspective. Doesn't mean you could do it differently, of course. So we pay them a percentage of the deal if they are, number one, if they have to go to the house on the acquisitions at all. I don't remember the exact percentage breakdown, but I want to say that accounts for maybe 10% of the acquisition, let's say. So if they go to the house for the signature and they never talk to the person, so someone in our phone team did, then they're going to get about 10% of the deal from the front end part of it.
Right.
If they sold the house, if they went and put out signs and we're getting phone calls from signs, I think we pay like 5% of the disposition side just for getting signs active that bring us in new buyers.
Uh-huh.
And then the other 20%, I want to say, is broken down into 10% if it's somebody who's already a buyer in our network, and 10% if it's not, an additional 10% if it's a new buyer and you got to go meet them at the property. Because we like to meet, if it's a new buyer, we like to meet them if at all possible so that we can develop a relationship with them. Because we try to do our best in building relationships with our buyers. So a little bit different. Like, we're not looking for, somebody who just wants to buy a house and then we can just put them on a list and blast them. That's cool and it works. But we take it to another level. We want to meet them. We want to learn about their family, their needs, their wants. We really want to build a relationship with them because we want them to buy from us throughout the year and years and introduce us to their family and friends who may want to buy as well.
Sure. That's really cool. I like that. So you've got different structure if they go get the doc sign, if they put out the signs, if the lead comes in from one of their signs and that sort of thing. And then they're going to meet the buyer at the house, walk them through the house and get to know them.
Yes. Yeah, if at all possible. Of course, we do have some out-of-town buyers that just buy sight unseen and that's it. But more often than not, either the person is there locally or they have a boots on the ground themselves. We're going to meet that person and develop a relationship and find out what else they like.
That's good, man. I love it. I love it. That's some really good stuff. Now, how do you guys go about making the phone ring?
Several things, and we transition depending on what's working well. So we've done direct mail. Currently, the only direct mail we do now is very highly targeted. So we use another software we have for stacking our list and then going after the higher motivation people.
Right.
In addition to that, we're currently doing some ringless voicemail. So we're doing ringless voicemail drops and actually we're testing something right now. We're testing ringless voicemail drops to agents, to have agents bring us their pocket listings and off market.
Right.
Couldn't really tell you where that's going to go yet, but we've seen some initial good response in one of our markets, the other market not so much. So we love to run tests and see what's working. We use bandit signs. Bandit signs work. So we like those, especially when you're in the under 150, under 100,000 neighborhoods. Bandit signs work really effectively for ringing the phone.
Do you have your boots on the ground guy put them out?
Yes. Yeah, we have him put it out. And then we have, and then he gets a percentage of the deal based on because we track all that. So we know that it came in from that, and he'll get 5% of that commission as part of the acquisition side if if the call came from that lead type. And then the other thing that we've done in the past and we're about to turn back on is cold calling. We hired it out. It was pretty effective. We took it in-house and did it with Mojo ourselves, and we weren't that effective.
Right.
And then we stopped it for a while, and now we're about to turn it back on and hire it out again. And then online pay-per-click. There's only so much volume you can do with online pay-per-click, though.
Right. That's good, man. Sounds like you got a lot of leads going on. You guys must be doing a pretty strong volume. That's awesome.
We do a good, decent volume, but then also the marketing fluctuates. So some months, some of what I just said, we might have shut off just because it's too much, or we're training somebody, or can't handle the influx of calls. So we'll slow it down and focus on what we have. But yeah, I think we average anywhere from 8 to 10 deals a month. Usually, typically.
That's sweet. And you got one disposition guy that sells them all.
Yes, that's something I've still been fairly involved in, if anything.
Right.
Just because before we ever had a disposition person, I'm the person that built most of the relationships with my buyers. Right. So especially in Michigan, most of them want to talk to me.
Yeah.
So we're working on getting it to the, hey, no, yeah, that's cool. You like the house, awesome. How are the kids? And now talk to our guy. He's gonna facilitate the rest of this all the way for you.
Now I'm gonna hand you off.
Yes, and he's gonna take it for you, and then hopefully I'll be less involved in that as time goes. But so it just depends. If it's a new person, I have no involvement. But a lot of times our VIP buyers typically buy most of our stuff, and I already have relationships with most of them.
That's good, man. That's good. This has been some awesome information. I know we've been kind of talking a little bit about some of the things that your IPO will do, Investorpo. Tell us a little bit about that and how people can learn more about that and about you.
Yeah, absolutely. So Investorpo is lead management. We hate using the term in a box because it is so flexible for your business structure and whether you
Right.
buy on the phone or you buy through appointments. But the easiest way for people to understand it is that it is essentially a business in a box that modifies and molds to your business. Meaning, literally from the point someone contacts you from marketing, which is already done through our tracking system. So everything is built into IPO, right? You don't need any other. The unique thing about IPO is you need no third party integrations to make anything work. It's all built in. So from call tracking phone numbers to we even have our own phone system where you can answer the calls. You can call outbound from our system, on your desktop or your mobile device, depending on what position you're in. And from the point of contact all the way to getting the deal under contract and selling the deal to a buyer, all of it is built into IPO. So literally think of your A to Z checklist for every part of the acquisition and selling of the property.
Right.
That's already built in. We call it tasks. Every task is already predetermined. Now, you literally log into the day. What tasks do I have? As you do them and you take an action, which is a one click in our system, the
Right.
system will automatically already know who to assign the next appropriate task on the checklist to, maybe you or someone else, and what they're supposed to do based on the action you previously took, right? And then everything in between. And then it tracks it all, so it gives you very high level KPI. So from a business owner's perspective, I have a system in a box that literally I could sign up today. It's live in 5 minutes. Put the phone number that's in my system on a piece of mail or a banner sign. People call in. It starts telling my team what to do, and it's already tracking. So I can click on my report section and say, oh, okay, so I spent $500 on banner signs. We've had 10 calls, so I have $50 cost per contact, right? And as I escalate the leads, that'll automatically break that down. As you escalate all the way to doing a deal, it'll break down which revenue and profit you've made. So you can literally look at the business and say, okay, this is making me money, this is not, let's shut that off. So that's why we know when to turn things off, turn things on, put more money somewhere else. It's all determined by our reports that we look at. And at IPO, the beauty of IPO is a couple things for the relationship side. We socially profile every lead that comes into the system. So our system automatically scours the internet, looks for Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, Google bios, information about your leads. So that's really cool, especially on the buyer side. And we automatically follow up with everyone and at different stages, whether they're a seller, buyer, or just like an agent or a JV contact. There are automated text messages, ringless voicemail, emails, and one-off postcards that all go out to them in a drip sequence. So think of that as making sure that we have no lead ever lost or left behind. We have deals that may be a year old in our system that contact us back because they just got a text message and say, I'm actually ready to sell now, and I'm ready to sell at your price, right? And a year ago we talked to them and they had no interest, kind of thing.
Right. Right.
And all that's done inside IPO. It manages all of our leads, so we don't lose any leads. The only way it's dead in our system is the person died or they sold the property. Otherwise, keep working the deal. Even if you just we call IPO our team of VAs. We used to have 3 other VAs that did a lot of our manual follow-up, texting, calling, comps, and all that stuff. And when we built IPO, that got rid of all 3 of those VAs because we essentially automated their jobs.
That's huge, man. I love that. I love that. You mentioned a couple of things I want to talk about. The social profiling. That's great, man. Anytime somebody comes into the system, it goes out and scours the internet, like you said, for LinkedIn accounts, Facebook accounts, all that. And you know a little bit more about who you're dealing with. Are they a realtor? Are they an attorney? Are they a doctor? Or are they just, a newbie looking to get involved in real estate? Or whatever. That's really, really strong. I love that, man. I remember when you showed that to me a while back. I'm like, man, that blew me away. That was awesome. And then just the automated follow-up with everything, because so many people don't really realize if they're starting out in real estate, man, the fortune is in the follow-up, right?
100%.
Yeah, the fortune is in the follow-up because you're not going to get every deal off your first phone call or first contact with this person. Like you said, it might be a year down the road or 2 or 3 years down the road before they say, hey, I'm done. I give up. I can't do it anymore. You win. You can have it. Right?
Yes. Yeah. That's about what happens. Right. And And if you forgot about them, which most people do, or if you have a manual process in there, even if you're creating yourself a task to remind yourself to call them or text them, people forget to do their job. People get sick. People lose their job, and then they're lost in some other system in the vortex, as we'll call it, right?
Right.
So we've truly automated that. Now it's not a blasting system. It is a one-off true automation, but it's not waiting for you to click a button to tell it to do it. It's programmed. It just does it. And it does it whether it's a contact or a lead. It changes the conversation. So we truly built what we call a real human interaction system. And it's probably the secret sauce behind the system is the way that it interacts like a human. I mean, we have literally people I do demos for, and we use their information to put them in the system, and they respond back 2 weeks later to an automated message because I never shut it off.
Right.
And they're like, well, "Who is this? I don't remember contacting you to sell the property." Hey, that just speaks volumes of our automation, right? The whole goal of it is to get the prospect to engage. You know that I put you in, and I told you you're going to follow up 2 weeks from now. You forgot, and you got to follow up, and you responded to it.
Yeah,
it just works.
And the most important thing is, as a business owner, we can forget about that prospect, but they're getting touched every single so often, whatever it's weekly or monthly or whatever, right?
Yeah, and it's modified by your business. So if you like it weekly, daily, monthly, every few months, it's programmable to be customized to you and your personality type, as we say. And it's great. So we call it IPO. As people laugh, they're like, "Well, who's your team of VAs?" Well, IPO is our team of VAs because IPO never gets sick. IPO never forgets to do what he's supposed to do. He just does it. So that's our team of VAs that is nonstop working around the clock for us.
That's awesome. That's awesome. It's an assistant who never sleeps.
That's it.
Or never complains or misses a day.
Never. It's the best employee I've ever had.
That's awesome, man. I love it. So, Robert, this is really cool stuff. This is great. How would somebody reach out to you, about Investorpo or whatever, how would they do that?
Yeah, the best is you can either go to our website, investorpo.com, or you could reach me directly at robert@investorpo.com. That's
cool, man. That's good. Now, Investorpo, it's very, very sophisticated, but from what I understand, it also is really, really good if somebody's just getting started, but they are going to spend some money on marketing to get started and work their way up to scaling, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have from your new guy who's never done a deal all the way up to, guys with 15 to 20 team members, branched in multiple markets using the system. So it's complex enough that it can scale to that size and built to do that. Right. But we've simplified it enough that if you're just brand new, you literally could do what I said. You're a brand new person, put this number on your bandit sign you're about to put out. The calls come in, tells you what to do. And we have a ton of new people that, of course, you have to have money for marketing. Like, if you're not doing marketing, you really have no purpose having a lead management system. That's where yellow notepads and whiteboards are going to do you blessing. That's all you need, right?
Right.
But as you start to do actual marketing and you have leads coming in, this is going to manage this. We have several people that start with us and have done their first deal with IPO. We have a couple new people that are, we're doing only a deal a month and now got an extra couple of deals because of auto follow-up. They didn't even know it was turned on. I just, in our Facebook group, they said, "Hey, I just got a deal from a guy that said he got a text message from me. I didn't know IPO sent text message. I thought I had to set that up." No. Out of the box, it already is programmed to do the auto follow-ups. Now, you can modify it, extend it, create it, but he didn't know. And then he came in and said, "I just got my biggest wholesale deal. I offered the guy back." This was earlier in the year. I think he made an offer in December. The guy wasn't taking it. He forgot about the lead. And by March, the guy got a follow-up text message that he replied back to it and re-engaged him, got the contract, and sold his biggest wholesale deal yet from a deal he forgot all about.
Sweet.
But it's definitely built for everybody.
The fortune is in the follow-up.
Yes.
That's for sure. So, Robert, what kind of parting words would you have for our viewers and listeners if they're either just getting started or looking to scale?
I would say either or. If you're looking to scale, then you're already somebody who's taking action, so keep taking action. And if you're looking to scale, look for things that are going to save you time. And that's going to be tracking your KPIs if you're not. I find a lot of people don't for some reason.
Right.
Get that automated. And whether you use an IPO or you build it yourself or do something else, make sure that you have automated follow-up in place, because you are losing deals right now by not having follow-up. And it should be in multiple ways. It can't just be a text message or a phone call. Use multiple touches, because different people respond differently. So you want to touch them in every way possible. And if you're new, get started. That's the take action, do something, contact people, tell people you're doing business. Stop reading, stop lurking around the internet asking questions. You're going to learn more about real estate when you start taking action in the business than you ever will from studying anything. And I spent 10 years reading every Kiyosaki book there is, every one of his advisors, went to all the courses, and I learned more in my first year of real estate trying to do deals than any of that material could have ever taught me.
Awesome, man.
So take action.
Really good words of wisdom. Good words of wisdom. Man, I really appreciate you being on. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Larry, for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
All right, have a great day.
You too.